you guys watch the Super Bowl? I know JP did. I want to talk about this. Brandon.
Foosball's the devil.
I thought you said whose balls are the devil, and I was like, it's a weird way to start the podcast.
Gotta keep it interesting.
Foosball's the devil. So you don't like football? You don't watch football at all?
No, I never have. I tried to get into it when I was younger because my friends were all into it, and I just never could.
Gotcha.
Disappointing.
Which is weird because I like watching baseball, which everybody else thinks is boring.
Yeah.
I love watching baseball.
I like baseball. It's way better in person, not on TV.
See, I think it's
but
opposite.
Football. What? Wait.
We've talked about
what do you
this
mean? Wait. I don't remember you saying it was the opposite. You'd rather watch it on TV than actually be at the park?
Yeah.
Eating a hot dog and beer? What is wrong with you? Well,
you probably don't like hot dogs.
Or people.
I have a strong... or people. I feel like people are the worst.
Dude, every time I go somewhere that's crowded, I just get pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I have zero fun being here.
Brand's like, I hate people. That's why I film myself and share it for everybody.
Right. I know. That's why all my friends that know me, they're like, you're on YouTube? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, that's weird. I'm like, right. I would have never thought. But no, the main reason I don't like... I guess I was just more disappointed the first time I went to a game. I don't mind going to them. I enjoy the experience, but you get more information on the TV. So like when you go there, I had no idea that they didn't announce like in person. I didn't because I grew up going to like car races and like motocross races and stuff, and they announced the whole time. So I just thought that was the thing that every sport did, you know? And so when I went, I was like, why aren't they telling us what's going on? Because like unless you're right behind home plate, it's kind of hard to like see where the ball goes, you know. And like it's just, I don't know, it was weird. It was just not what I expected, I think.
So NASCAR forever, you know, they were teamed up with Sprint for a long time. But when you went to a NASCAR race, you could rent like this. It comes like this little tiny computer screen, like just a little handheld screen with headphones. And it would show you different camera views of the track during the race. And then you could select different radios to listen to. Like you could listen to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his pits, or you could listen to, you know, whoever. And that was always awesome because you're sitting there, you got to have headphones on anyway because it's so loud. And then, but you also got to hear the announcers and you get to listen to what they're talking about. So that was cool. But what I saw at the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure I saw this correctly, is now stadiums have the same thing. And you can pull it up on your phone and see different camera angles of the game you're watching live, which is really cool.
Actually, I was actually gonna do that next time if we ever get to go anywhere like that again. It's gonna do that next time because I have like the MLB app, and so you can listen through you know the announcers. So I was like, I'm just gonna take headphones and listen to the announcers while we're watching. I know
that's a big thing in baseball,
right? And then I was like, that's not a new thing. I just didn't think about it, you know, before. Obviously, I didn't take headphones randomly with me to the ballpark.
I went through a big kick in the shop where I was listening to baseball games on the radio while I was in the shop. Back before I was filming YouTube, I was just in there woodworking and maybe taking some pictures for Instagram. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. You know, that was back before podcast or you know, listening to podcasts and stuff. So I thought that was great. It kind of slowed everything down a little bit, just chilled out and listened to the game.
I still listen to like podcasts and stuff while I work, even though I film everything, so it's on my stuff. That's why I don't care about audio as much, because I play music because I have like crap playing on my TV and stuff. This is a funny story. So I was doing one of the projects that I did last year. That was a sponsored project, and I finished the whole video, sent it to the sponsor just because they review it for the sponsorship. They're reviewing the video. He reviewed it and he sends it back. He goes, "Hey, I like the project. Looks really good. So one thing, at like 2 minutes and 43 seconds, you hear Joe Rogan talking in depth about marijuana for about 20 seconds, and you can hear it in the video." And I was like, I was like, oh, I'll check that out. Sorry. So I had to go back in and mute the track. I don't know how it like got through the whole editing process. It was really funny.
Wow.
I like the AirPod Pros for that, and that's what I wear in the shop now.
I know.
Because I can listen to them, and I can turn it on transparency, or I can, cut all the sound off while still listening to it and filming and stuff. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I just use my earbuds to listen to a podcast.
Yeah, I started using those Elgin headphones, the Bluetooth ones. They're freaking sweet.
Yeah, I saw those in your thing the other day. They look cool.
Yeah, and they sent me actually that neon sign, which is pretty cool. And then they sent me shirts from my kids that say "Maker in Training."
I've seen that.
Yeah,
that's cool. I thought you just had them made.
No, it's they have like this really vintage logo. I think it's similar to that one.
For being honest, can't see it, and I thought it was a Guinness sign.
No, it's it's funny. I'm pretty sure that's like a stock sign, and then they put their logo on it type thing. Like you can buy it. Well, that's the same shape as my logo. And I was like, oh
yeah, that's true.
This gives me an idea. I could buy one of those.
Isn't that
put
the
a
Guinness
decal on
shape too?
Huh?
Isn't that like a Guinness logo shape also?
Yeah, it's a lot of
pretty
shapes.
Close.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but no, I love them though. They're nice. The Bluetooth actually comes in pretty good. It does protect your ears as well. My planer is super loud. I think you guys both have the same one. It's ridiculously loud.
Clearly, you've never had the lunchbox one.
No, I have. I've had two of them. Yeah, it's just a different kind of loud. It's just like a high screechy loud.
The 735, I was like, oh, this is half as loud as the other one.
Yeah. Well, I had to go. Quieter. That's something shop-wise. I was doing hickory, and my planer went out this last week while in the middle of a board. Like,
yeah, I watched your stories.
Yeah, I thought I tripped a breaker because that happens frequently in my shop. Mm-hmm. So I was like, crap, maybe I left a heater in. So I looked around and both of my heaters were unplugged. I was like, maybe that's weird. So I was
yelling at my phone.
You were yelling at your phone? Why?
Yeah. Because I was like, it's the button on the front. Push it in.
No,
and you're
that's
like,
not what it was.
That. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. So let me finish the story. So I go down, I check the breakers. Wasn't the breaker. Then I started Googling because I hit the reset button. I knew it wasn't that. And it was weird because it was going fine, then all of a sudden just died. Like it wouldn't even die. It just literally turned off like, poof, and it was like, that's weird. Anyway, I looked up a bunch of forums, and the number one thing was say, hey, take a rubber mallet, untake the top, and just smack the motor. And I was like,
treat it like a starter.
Like an old school. I was going to say like
treat
a starter.
It like a starter on a 75 Chevy.
I used to do that to my own 86 Chevy that I had when I was 16.
Have somebody else try to start it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think this is gonna work, but all right. So I like lightly tapped this. Like, I'm not gonna break my planer because of this crap.
Out there just tink.
Yeah, I was like tink tink. I'm like, I'm not gonna try hard. And then the other one was there's a safety switch. And the safety switch is really for nothing super important. It's for the lid. There's a safety switch that there's like a little tab that clicks down. Anyway, so I took off the whole front panel. Before that, before I even started doing all that, I was like, you know what? I just got to finish this. I was on my last board of hickory for my freaking bed. The last one I needed. And so I just wanted to get it done. So I went and got my father-in-law's lunchbox planer. And I did just so it would like feed through, not taking off any wood. Dude, it wouldn't even pull the board through.
Dude, hickory is rough on tools.
Dude, it's so bad. And our planer actually does pretty good with it. Yeah. And I don't even have a helix head. If I had a helix head, I think it would just eat through it. Right. Like no problem. But our still does pretty good. Dude, this one, it sounded like every moment it was just screaming for help. Like it was just like, my God, take this thing out of me.
Please stop. It's not what I'm made for.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, this is not going to work. So I tried it for probably 10 minutes and I couldn't even get one pass through. And I was like, okay, this is worthless. So I went back over and then I basically bypassed that safety switch. And as soon as I bypassed it, turned it on, it worked again.
I've heard others have the same problem.
Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about maybe doing a video on it, but like a quick tips video or something. Either
I've
my
had
IGTV.
Mine do that before, but the problem on mine was that the setting, the 1-2 setting on that for the blade speed. For some reason, if I was planing something like hickory or whatever, it popped out of place a little bit. So it wasn't the switch, and I was going back and forth. I was looking at breakers, everything else, and it turned out that I just had to like click it one way and back the other, and once that engaged in all the way, then it would go.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's interesting to know that, Jesse. I that would be a good video because I would have no idea.
I looked up a bunch. Nobody had a video on it. I just found it deep in a forum. So I was like, well, maybe it'd be good just to do a video, not for views, just to help people.
Right.
Just because, it'll probably get 1,000 views, but the 1,000 views are people looking for the issue. So it's like, if it helps somebody, why not?
It's kind of like that guy that did that video on this combusting materials in his shop.
Yeah, that's right.
JP looks so confused.
No.
It's you. I'm talking about you.
I'm sorry, I was distracted. My wife was sending me a text message telling me to fold the laundry when we got done. So I was reading that at the same time, and then I realized what you're talking about. Yeah.
But
how's that video doing?
We talked about it on here, and then
like 2 different
3
podcasts
days
we
later,
talked about it.
Yeah, and then like 3 days later, my trash can starts freaking smoking, and it turns out it was from CA glue. I was like, all right, fine, I'll do a video, and I don't know, it's not that great. I didn't expect it to be a 1 million view video or anything, but if it keeps a couple people safe and saves a few shops, then I'm great with it.
That's cool. Yeah,
sure. I like my ammo can. Keeping it in the ammo can is the absolute best way I can figure on how to store those.
Good idea.
Sealed metal can with water. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting a metal trash can for that kind of stuff, like a small.
They make them for that specific thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you have aggregate driveways?
What's that mean?
No, like gravel. I mean?
Oh, like gravel?
No, aggregate, like aggregate concrete, where you can see the pebbles in the concrete.
Aggregate.
No, mine's
gravel.
Well, mine's like nice concrete. It's not like rough. Is that what you're saying? Because so back in, that's asphalt. Like it was like back where I grew up in California, the asphalt was the worst asphalt in the entire world. It was literally just rocks with a little glue.
Right.
And that was like every street. And out here, it's like.
Call it chip seal.
Is that what a chip seal? Dude, out here, it's like smooth, black. Like it's like you can walk on it and it's no problem, barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our concrete does kind of, ours does chip out, like the weather and the salt from all the snow. We throw down salt to de-ice everything, and it just eats that concrete up. So you get like little rivets everywhere in our concrete.
They have, but like I said, they like all auto shops. I only know this because I was a mechanic, but all like car auto shops you have to have a can like for oily rags, and it has like a lid that pops up with your foot, and then you drop it in, and it shuts down. And it's like sealed. So if it does do that, it's contained to the can.
My driveway, I have to seal it every year or two, and the sealant comes in metal cans. So the reason I was saying that is because I always keep my cans, because they're 5-gallon bucket cans. I always keep those and use those as trash cans. Because I have to do that every year or two anyway. So I have several of them. But aggregate concrete, what I call aggregate concrete is, so you pour the concrete and you lay plastic over it for a day or two, and then you take it off and you pressure wash off the top layer, and it leaves like a pebble look. That's interesting that y'all never heard of it.
No, I've never heard of that.
To be fair, I have not really heard of any different types of concrete either. So
yeah.
Just like concrete, cool.
I poured a little bit of
concrete. I thought this was like a tobacco thing. Yeah, I was like, JP's just making up words again.
Well, I wanted to explain that. Not that it was interesting, but I was just curious if y'all realized what I was talking about, and you just called it something different. So.
Well, aggregate. The only reason I know is because, again, back to racing. When I was racing, there was a guy I had a sponsor, and they was Pro Aggregate, and they sold gravel. And so I was like, aggregate must be gravel? I don't know. We sound pretty dumb. I'm just saying.
Well, I finished my bed, though, after that fiasco with my planner. I ended up finishing it this week, which was super nice.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Thanks, man. It worked. It's so effing heavy. It's 100% solid wood, or solid hickory hardwood.
At least you didn't do like 8-quarter.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, the legs are right. Like the legs up front are, but they're shorter. But the legs in the back are 1.5 inches thick by 5 inches by, 5.5 feet tall. They're big.
Wow.
So yeah, but it worked out good. The drawer underneath worked out way better than I thought it was going to. Actually, yeah, it kind of just came up with the design in my head. I was like, ugh, let's see if this works, because I was really worried about having, with a king bed, you need a middle support all the way through, right? Because you have your box springs or whatever. And I was like, how am I going to do one big drawer? And then I decided to incorporate one of the supports. Actually, I ended up incorporating 2 of the supports to where that's kind of the rail that it slides along. So it won't go too far out and it won't go too far in. So you literally just pull it out and it just hits the stop. And then you just push it in, it hits the stop with the front, and you always are perfect every time. It's kind of nice.
That's cool. That's cool. I've never seen a bed with dog beds that pull out like that, so that's cool.
So when you pull it out, the dogs sleep in the drawer, or do you just use that?
No, you just leave it out. You just leave it out at night.
Close them in.
No, I know. I'm saying, do you is it strong enough for the dog to sleep in, or you just use it to store the beds?
I see what you're saying. I thought you meant you pulled it out, they got in, and just closed them in there for the night.
So I was like, oh, that's awesome. You just pull it out and they sleep in the drawer, and then I was like, oh, no, he's probably just using it to store them.
No, they sleep in them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, because, this is one question I've gotten is well, what if they move around at night? They're going to wake you up because they're in is it attached to the
bed? They just slide in and close underneath the bed.
Yeah, well,
where the dogs go.
Benny's underneath. He's always walking in circles. He's trying to adjust all the time. That'd be a nightmare. No, but instead of using drawer glides or anything, I just used little tiny casters that are about this big, and I used 8 of them. And so they're completely separate from the bed. So if they move and stuff, you don't hear it, you don't feel it. That's cool. I mean, it's pretty strong, the whole thing, too.
That's what was going to be my next question was, how'd you find drawer sides strong enough to hold up your dogs?
Oh, the casters are a great idea then.
Yeah. So it worked out. I'm really happy with it. My wife's super happy with it. She's been asking me for, I think, 4 or 5 years to make a bed, and I finally did it. So
you're right on time.
Yeah, right. Perfect. Exactly. I'm like, babe, I'll get to it. Just give me a few years.
Yeah, we can't be,
I followed through.
Up in that timeline, across the board of woodworkers, because once one guy does it the next week, you're no, babe, that's how long everybody takes.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
No need to remind me every 6 months, okay?
Exactly.
I need to make a bed for me and my wife and for both of my kids,
and Brian.
Famous. Brian's got his couch.
Neighbor Brian.
Okay. For those that don't know, JP was holding us up because he was helping Brian move a couch.
I know Brian was helping me move a couch. I was helping him move a couch.
All right.
My wife bought a new couch and chair for the downstairs, which meant the stuff downstairs needed to go upstairs. Perfect sense, right?
Yes.
So that was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare trying to get that giant couch through a tiny doorway up there. We had twisted and turned that couch every possible which way. And the last way that we did it, it went in. Yeah. And I still don't know how. And I will have to take an axe to it to get it out.
That's my favorite episode of Friends when they're moving the couch up the stairs. Pivot. He just keeps yelling pivot. And they're like, we're stuck. Stop it. Yeah. Moving couches in small areas it's the worst because everyone gets stressed. You get angry because you want the person across from you to do what you're thinking in your head, but you can't communicate it correctly. So it's always frustrating.
Always worried if somebody's going to drop it.
Yeah, my wife's standing there. Me and Brian, we're doing pretty good. We're communicating. Then we're getting, 30 different directions from my wife and my kids. You got to do this, you got to do that. And I was like, if y'all don't have anything more productive to say, stop talking. Just hush for a minute. Let me think. I was trying not to let that end in an episode where my wife and I did not speak for 3 days. So
I was going to say, I'm sure you said it that nicely too.
Yeah.
Now, honey.
Yeah. I'm like, Carter, if you touch this couch one more time,
rip your arm off and beat you with it.
He had to touch it, and then they wanted to jump jump on it and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to hurt everybody. Then I come down here to go do the podcast and I'm sweating and I'm like halfway out of breath. I was so glad that Jesse's computer had to get restarted.
Dude, technology.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Boss Hammer Company. Boss Hammer is an American company that prides themselves in manufacturing every part of their hammers in the USA.
The Boss Hammers have a patented design that allows the hammer to be also used as a speed square, letting you accurately mark studs and angles fast. They come in poly fiberglass handles, titanium, and hickory. A bunch of different sizes and weights to match your needs.
You can also get your company logo lasered onto any of the hickory hammers that they offer. Go check out Boss Hammer Company on their social media and send them a message letting them know that you heard about them on the Go Build Something podcast. Go to their website and see what they offer at www.bosshammerco.com. That's www.bosshammerco.com.
I'm going to start just shop-wise, I'm going to start building end tables again. Or not again, but basically use the rest of the hickory that I got for great steel to do some end tables to match. So I went down because I designed it and then I looked at all the hickory I have and I'm like, I don't want to make panels for every single side of these things at all. So I was like, well, I'm going to go buy hickory plywood. So I went down, bought hickory plywood. It's the most expensive plywood I've ever bought in my life. Mm-hmm. And
what was it a sheet, if you don't mind me asking?
It's probably not going to be like it was $90 a sheet. But
that's pretty damn expensive for plywood.
No, it's not.
It's not?
It is for me.
You know what's weird? This is a tangent. So you can buy walnut plywood, not really tangent. You can buy walnut or like maple, like sought after plywoods for like around that 90. I think walnut's like 110. And I went and I was like, I'm going to make this knotty alder thing because I had a bunch of knotty alder lumber laying around while I needed plywood like for, I don't remember. I think I was making shelves. And so I was just going to make the shelves out of ply and then face them with hardwood. So I was like, I'm going to get some plywood, but it had to be knotty alder to match. Knotty alder plywood was $140 for a 4x8 sheet of 3/4. I'm like, why? It's what?
No, thank you.
It's knotty alder. It's $2.50 a board foot for 8/4.
That's weird.
It's the cheapest thing they have, but yet the plywood's the most expensive.
Well, my father-in-law just bought knotty alder plywood when we were down there. Now, this is 1/2 inch, but it was $50.
Yeah, it could have been a different grade.
Yeah, well, this one was so they call it primer. Like we've talked about this before. So the place I go to is primer rustic, or there's like standard prime, standard rustic.
Yeah, this was like A1, which is
this is rustic. So it had basically knots in it that they just filled in with like black epoxy or I don't know however they do it.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, if it's just for shelves, rustic would probably be the way to go.
That's all they had.
Yeah, but
that's all
crazy.
They carry is
$90 for me was so much,
and
they are so heavy because they're not actually Procore. What they only had there was basically a MDF with a veneer. So it's 3/4 MDF, which MDF's heavy.
Yeah, basically it's melamine.
yeah. So it's so heavy. So these end tables are just because they're going to be 3 feet wide or maybe close to 3 feet wide by like 2 feet wide. So they're just going to be huge and super heavy.
Are they nightstands or end tables?
Well, they're going to be nightstands is what they're going to be.
It's pretty big for nightstands.
Well. So we want them to have basically like mini dressers too. Like they're gonna have 2 big drawers for clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's what we have too, Jesse.
Yeah, I think it'll be easier to like obviously keep like underwear, socks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also we want to get rid of a big dresser we have in that room that's like 5.5 feet tall by like 4 feet tall, and we don't want it in there anymore. It's just annoying. It's just big, and we want to kind of open up the whole room.
Gotcha.
So we're hoping this does it.
So funny nightstand story. Wish there isn't many of those around, right?
It's weird.
We went from
about to go a weird direction.
Yeah. So I found this guy on Craigslist, and
we met in an alley behind a bar.
We had those standard nightstands, they're about the level, the size of your bed or the height of your bed, and I had one drawer. Excuse me. Well, my wife just recently bought like big ones, like what you're talking about, Jesse, and they stand up about a foot or so taller than our bed, and we use them as dressers. We don't have a dresser in our room, and they're pretty big nightstands. Well, I'm always just used to, if my phone goes off in the middle of the night, like the podcast group that I'm in, who all are in a different time zone. So when y'all are texting at 2 a.m., the very first night, I'm used to just rolling over and grabbing my phone. Very first night, y'all started texting, and I went to roll over while I was half asleep to grab my phone and just punched the side of that stupid nightstand, and I thought I broke my left hand.
That's awesome.
So I was extra mad at y'all. I was like, I'm mad because y'all are texting at 2 a.m., and I'm mad that I've just punched this nightstand, and I scared my wife.
That's awesome. That's so funny. That's awesome.
I'll definitely be sure not to do that again.
Yeah.
Wait, are we all drinking water tonight?
Yeah, it's not weird. Well, it is a Tuesday compared to a Sunday night, so
What's the difference? It's still night before work. Well, I guess
typically it would not be a difference to me, but I'm trying to be good starting this month and starting a new diet and
me too.
Cut back on the alcohol. So
wait, just for weekends or period?
I am only going to drink beer on Saturdays now.
But whiskey on Sundays.
Whiskey on Sundays. Yeah,
that makes sense.
No, yeah, for sure. And and I'm only eating meat now.
Oh, you're doing carnivore diet?
Meat. Yeah,
no
I've been
way.
doing it since the first.
Nice,
really,
dude.
So
I'm
you've been a week
jealous
on it
of those things you made.
That's why you made,
dude.
Yeah, that's why you made so much meat for your.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I made 10 pounds of pulled pork and burnt ends, and
Dude, we'll
looked like
show
they
some
were
pictures.
candied.
Yeah, we'll show some pictures on here because I've never been tagged in so many stories before in my entire life that were just
like,
every single one was
hard
delicious.
on this weekend.
Yeah, every single one I was like, oh, that's amazing. I want some so bad.
I was like, man, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I'm cooking some good stuff. I want to tag all you guys or whatever. So
I was just doing stuff, but I also am signed into the podcast IG, so I was getting notifications for both because you're tagging both. So my phone's like, I'm like, what is happening? And then I look, I'm like, oh, it's just JP.
So wait, because I want to talk about this diet. So how are you feeling on the diet?
I feel good.
Do you?
Feel good. Yeah. I did not feel good for the first 3 or 4 days because I think, I'm not very well versed in this, but from what I've been told and what I've read, because you eat so many carbs and you're eating bread and all that other stuff, basically you form a bacteria in your stomach that has to get fed with that kind of stuff, with yeast and carbs and crap, and they say that, when you cut all that stuff out and you're not feeding it, it's killing it away. And that makes you feel nauseous and, all kinds of different stuff.
It's probably why my stomach hurts by like 10 a.m. every day because I'm not eating sugar yet.
Well, I mean, that's the way it was explained to me when I was talking about how I felt to people who are smarter than me. But after the 2 or 3 days, and I say it didn't feel bad, but I was like, man, this is crummy. But now I feel very energetic. I feel full. I don't have to eat as much to get full. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And it's so easy to figure out what I need to eat. It's just basically, I just meat. I just got to make sure I have enough meat in the fridge.
Yeah.
If I'm firing up the smoker, I'll make sure to make enough for 2 or 3 days, and I can just take a Tupperware of chicken and I'm trying to mix it up. I'm not just eating ribeyes and steaks every day or cheeseburgers with no buns or anything like that.
Might get a little high in the grocery budget.
Yeah. No, I mean fish, chicken, and a healthy rotation of it all.
So just seasoning on top? Obviously for Super Bowl you did barbecue sauce and other stuff like that.
Yeah, I did a little barbecue sauce and stuff.
But for mostly just like salt, pepper, like just different kinds of seasonings?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, just whatever I have natural
Have you lost any weight?
I lost a pound a day for the first 8 days.
Damn.
Yeah, and then but I've gained about 3 pounds back in the interim, and
from the Super Bowl.
I'm guessing it's from the drinking endeavors of the Super Bowl.
You just lied and say it was muscle. Gained 3 pounds in muscle.
I think it was my body reacting to getting to not eating a bunch of stuff, and then now it's kind of leveling out, and then I think I'll have a steady decrease too. So I'm looking to lose 20 pounds. And then from here, I think I'm going to just segue into a paleo style diet, and just try to keep that as my norm. So start eating vegetables and stuff again. especially as the summer comes along, because I'll have a garden and stuff. So this isn't a long-term idea for me, but it is something to get me jump-started for at least 30 to 40 days, and then kind of move into that as I get closer to my goals.
That's cool.
Unlike any other diets, man, I have felt so much better in the gym while on a extreme diet like that. Like in the gym every day, and I still feel good. No, the funny thing is, I don't eat any more meat than I probably usually do anyway.
Right.
Like if I sit down for dinner, I'm gonna eat an entire steak and a baked potato and whatever else. But now I'm just eating a steak, or whatever, chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd probably the intake of meat is probably just the same, but I am getting to cook a lot on the Traeger and awesome. Smoke a lot of meats, and that's fun. I'm good with that.
So with your burnt ends, what was that you were using?
Pork belly.
I've never seen it sold like how you had, like you showed the package, and I don't remember ever seeing it sold like that.
Yeah. You just find it in the, the pork section or whatever, and it's just pork belly.
So is that just cheap. Like a solid piece of bacon, basically? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I think it comes from the section where bacon comes from.
Yeah,
but
so.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
So pork belly
just cut up big common bacon chunks.
So he's doing basically like, and I don't know if you called it this, but it's like the poor man's burnt ends, right? Is
exactly.
Kind of So because
I called them cheater burnt ends.
Yeah, yeah, and it's they're so good though. They're so
amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm so jealous.
I've only had I've only had real burn ends one time, and that's when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Whew, dude, it was just like eating like candy. Like you literally just pick it up and you're just like, oh my gosh, they're so tender. I love them. They're so
the
good.
only burnt ends I've had are from the brewery here, and they taste good, but they're like tough.
Oh yeah,
they shouldn't be tough.
Yeah.
They should be super tender.
The difference on this one is the fat cap on that pork belly really didn't render off enough to where it was kind of chewy. That part was, but the rest of it was just like candy. I've done traditional burn ends before off the brisket twice, and they're excellent. And this was a very good substitute to it without having to put an entire brisket on and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is an excellent substitute to it, and it wasn't hard at all. I just took that pork belly, cut it in 1-inch cubes, seasoned it completely, put it on the smoker, fat cap up, 3 hours till they hit 190. Pulled them off, put them in a pan, sauced them, put a little honey on there with the sauce, threw them back on the smoker for 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how set you want your barbecue sauce to get, and pull them off and eat them.
Dude, they look like they would have been really good even without sauce.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. They were excellent though. Did a pork butt at the same time, and yes, Jesse, I let it rest for almost 4 hours.
For 6 days.
I saw you make fun of me. I was trying to respond. And start a feud with you, but IG wasn't allowing it.
That's hilarious.
I called you some slurs, and they flagged it. Is what happened. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I don't mind resting. It's just like I don't have the time. Like I just don't. This is how it all sets up. Usually everybody eats dinner at like 5, and so if I'm doing it, I'm not waking up in the middle of the
He eats dinner at lunchtime, remember?
So you know what's funny on this one, dude, is typically I cook my pork butts. Put my pork butts at 225, and they'll take 10 hours or so. I was messing around and just completely forgot to get up like at midnight or whatever and put it on like I usually do. And I woke up at 6:30 in the morning just with no alarm clock. Was like, oh crap, I got a pork butt to cook for the game. So I ended up putting it on at a little after 7 a.m. and I cranked it up and cooked the entire thing, I think at 325, and it was done by 2 p.m. and I had it off and was resting, and it was just as good as anything else I've ever done. Yeah, so that hot and fast method was great.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't need as long, JP, like I've been saying.
On the smoker. The cooking process and the resting process are two different things.
I can't argue it with, because all your stuff looked delicious. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it would have an issue. Resting is never going to affect it worse. It's just like there's a point where it's like, all right, I'm just going to eat this thing. It smells too good. It's in this cooler. The smell's coming out of the cooler. I can smell it. I'm gonna eat this thing, and that's usually what happens.
Cook some ribeyes tonight. Those are good, and chicken thighs tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna smoke some stuff this weekend.
Yeah, I need to. It's been a while for me.
Yeah.
We're heading to St. Louis this weekend. I'm gonna get some St. Louis style ribs and some stuff up there. Some good barbecue up there.
What kind of barbecue sauce is that? That's just sweet, right? It's like a ketchup based or whatever. It's ketchup.
Yeah,
ketchup.
I think it's molasses based. It's not ketchup based. I think.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Molasses. It's molasses and vinegar. Those are the two styles.
Yeah. And there's a mustard base when you go down to the Carolinas.
That sounds good. I love mustard.
Yeah,
it's a good one. It's tangy. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's only good on certain things. Then you get Alabama, and you get a mayonnaise based white sauce for chicken. It's amazing.
Really,
unbelievably good.
Keep that away from me.
Yeah,
mayonnaise.
I'm gonna send y'all. I'm gonna go down there. When I go to Big Bob Gibson's barbecue and get y'all a jar of Alabama white sauce and send it to you. You put it on chicken that you smoke. It is unbelievable. You'll never want anything else on your chicken.
I'll try it.
It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I hate. You know what's funny is like I don't like mayonnaise at all. And what's even weirder is I hate mayonnaise and I hate like guacamole and avocado stuff. But the avocado.
What do you? Can we discuss what you do like?
Listen,
he's like, I like Taco Bell pizzas.
You know what's funny?
He's like, I like Monster Energy drinks.
I used to drink 2 a day.
He totally called it on that one because I can see.
Okay, you both have called it, and I'm not even finished with my story. I was gonna say, but I like the avocado ranch on Taco Bell stuff.
Of course you do. Of
Beside
course you
a
do.
Monster, no.
I can see.
I
that.
had to quit drinking Monster. They hurt my stomach. I used to drink like 2 a day. No joke.
Well, guys, we got some questions today, so let's start diving into those.
Hey guys, Chad from Chad's Workshop on Instagram here. We got a question for you this week on tool maintenance. Thinking about bigger machines, table saws, joiners, planers, things like that. Do you have a schedule that you follow for maintenance on those tools? Or do you do it as needed or when you have issues? Thinking about my saw stop table saw, for example, they kind of have some maintenance checks in the owner's manual. But I'm just curious what you guys do and how you handle that. Thanks a lot. Really enjoy the podcast.
My personal opinion, which may be controversial, is a lot of those owner manuals have stuff in it that lawyers put in because they don't want to get sued. The company doesn't want to get sued. And that's why they have some sort of maintenance thing. Now, when it comes to maintenance, I'm also not the best person that keeps up maintenance things. So when I see that I have a need to like re-sand and basically redo my entire table saw, I'll do it. But I don't have like, okay, after every project, I'm going to use new paste wax. I'm do all this. Like, I don't do that. That's just not me.
Same.
But
I just do what I think about it. Or
I would say none of us are production wood shops. So I don't use every tool in my shop evenly the same amount of time, throughout a work week. So my joiner may go a while without getting used depending on the projects that I'm using and the wood that I'm buying, or my planer or something else. So there's no reason to schedule it. If I schedule it, it'd be unnecessary for every one of my tools. So I go by what my tool tells me it needs.
Right.
Or if I have nothing else going on. Yeah. And if I'm in between projects and I got nothing else going on and it's a beautiful day out or whatever, and I don't want to start on a new project or I don't have enough wood, I will go around each one of my tools just to see if they need anything or whatever, check the blades. If I need to clean my blades or, clean out by the arbor on the table saw or whatever needs to be done, change the blades out, I'll do that. But most of the time it's just as needed. I run a blade through my planer and I realize that it's got a chip out in it because I can see the groove in one of the boards. Then I change the blades. Or if I'm running it through, I'm like, it's not sharp, then I change them. Or if I'm over on the joiner, jointing stuff and see the same thing, I can change the blades out or, whatever. I'm resawing stuff on my bandsaw the other day and noticed that it wasn't resawing perfectly straight. So I had to take it off and tune my table saw up again, check my fence for square and all that stuff. So I'm always at an as needed thing because of that.
I think most people are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right though. If you're a production shop and you're doing a ton of different, like you're running just a bunch of lumber through and you're building a bunch of stuff, and you have like a person on each. Like I had a buddy that worked, he no longer works there, but he worked at a place called Logan Coach. It's here in town, and they make trailers, but he did like the cabinetry and these horse trailers. It sounds weird, but it's like the fancy horse trailers that sell like for a lot of money.
Like an RV with a horse on it.
Yeah, and they have a big shop that they do production stuff, so they're cutting things, and it's just all the time. But then I believe it's like every Friday they stop at noon, and they stop at noon or whatever day it was, and for the rest of the day they do maintenance and they clean the entire shop every week, so it's ready for the next week. So that would make sense. I think for depending on what you're doing, like just looking from the video, obviously he has like dust collection pipe to the ceilings. He's got a saw stop. He may be actually more.
You know, it would be more embarrassing than your phone going off in the middle of a podcast you're supposed to have on silent is if you had some kind of really weird ringtone. If your ringtone was like
first of all, it wasn't even my phone. It was my freaking computer. My computer, I don't know how to turn it off. I've tried. I've looked it up, and so I've always risked it. You know, but we've made it through 22 episodes. It's the first time, so I think it still counts as a win. And that was our editor texting me. So
Hi, Sam.
he can edit that Bing out and start over. But he may be the guy. Forget his name. I'm sorry. In the asked the question, I think he may be Chad. Sorry, Chad. I think Chad may be more on that production side than we are. I don't know. So you kind of have to play it by ear. For me, I'm just going to do it like you said, as needed. And I think most of us would do that.
Yeah, same. What irritates me the most and what reminds me to do it, especially on the joiners, if I'm joining wood and there's so much friction because I don't have any paste wax on there.
Yes.
And then I'm like, it's fine. I just need to get through this. And then I'm like, all right, that's it. Stop, turn it off, put paste wax on. And then it glides through like butter. I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Why don't I
was just about to say, every time I do it, I'm like, I'm an idiot for not doing that more.
Yeah, that's my tip. Paste wax everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like stuff you wouldn't think about, like your router bases, like when you're going like edge routing something and it feels like there's a bunch of friction. If you stop, put paste wax on it, it's like a world of difference.
Yeah.
I put it on like my router sled. I put it on everything.
Sounds
not
good.
to protect it, but I mean to protect it as well, but also for like lubricant, basically, like so it slides easier.
Such children, just children.
Well, you can say it.
I was trying to say it with a straight face. I was like, "There's no way they're keeping straight faces."
You're like, I use paste wax on everything, and I'm like, oh God,
everything.
You just kept going. You're like, like my router base.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm trying like not to quote movies during the entire podcast. Jesse's over giggling about lubricant. We're pros. We're real pros here.
I actually prefer Vaseline for my table saw. Petroleum jelly.
All right. And on that note, next question.
Hey guys, wondering what some projects you would suggest for someone who's starting to move out of just shop furniture into starting a side hustle. Really love the podcast and all the work y'all are doing. Thanks.
Well, Ben, I think the natural progression is usually cutting boards. I think in any other stuff like that you can put on Etsy is what I see the natural progression of people moving out of that into the realm of being able to sell stuff. But that's, I guess I almost just went in to start selling tables because I started making tables pretty early on. So I skipped the whole small stuff and went straight to all the big stuff. But the nice thing about the small stuff is that it can be shipped. You can advertise across the country. There's way more people out there that would buy stuff like that. Advertising on or getting it out there on Pinterest and stuff like that would probably generate a lot of sales, I would say. I have never used Etsy before. I don't know if you guys have or not, but I think that's kind of the natural progression of things of selling, unless there's something in your area and people that that have a particular thing that they want, then, you never really know what you can fall into. Like I said, I did with tables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one issue with cutting boards and Etsy is that
So flooded.
It's flooded. The market, there's so many people that do it. So like you can do it, but it's interesting that like I know people locally that sell them very well by going to the farmers markets. They go to the farmers markets and they show cutting boards and they show like little, they turn like wine caps or handles for pizza cutters and stuff like that and make amazing, beautiful stuff. Yeah. And they sell a lot of it. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
It just depends on what you want to sell. If you want to continue, well, I think, depending on what kind of furniture you're doing, you could just go more in depth into furniture as well, right? So if you want to get out of furniture, it's one thing. But if you're saying, hey, I just want to keep selling stuff, maybe mix up your style, right? Like if you're doing farm furniture and pocket hole stuff, how about you take it up a notch where you're now doing better joinery or more complex things or different looks or more modern or mission style, I don't know, whatever you want that fits your style or whatever the client wants, but charge a little bit more and take your time on it more. You know what I mean? You could kind of change up what you're doing. Or you could freaking go like my father-in-law, he sells cornhole boards. Dude, he's busy from spring to fall building cornhole boards, and he's really good at them. But he does the full decals and whatever you want, he'll make. And he just disregards copyright stuff. He's like, get out of here. But Brandon, he does it really good. So just kind of fill out what is needed in your area, and then what kind of what you hear back with.
I was gonna say, I know Brandon struggled with this for a while, and what you would like to sell. Do you want to sell more of one thing, or slow it down and sell one thing that's really expensive, right?
Right.
So I know that's always an issue too.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so many avenues you can go down with this question, but I feel like it just depends on your end goal and what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make this full time eventually? Are you doing it as a hobby? If you're doing it as a hobby and you're just trying to make extra money, I would say make whatever you want to make and what makes you happy to make, and try to sell that. Obviously make it to where it's something that somebody's going to want, not some like, crazy, insane niche down thing. But if you don't want to make 200 sets of cornhole boards, don't start making cornhole boards, because you'll become the cornhole board guy.
Yeah.
It's not,
it's very true.
Unfortunately, that's just kind of how it goes. And that's what happened to me, like not cornhole board specifically, but although that did happen, but I went down this rabbit hole of a client base that was paying lower amounts because I could sell more. So when I wanted to transition into a higher end furniture, this is all when I was still doing client work myself. When I wanted to transfer into higher end furniture, I still had those same type of clients coming and looking at my profile and my portfolio of things that I had done, and all they're seeing is all this farmhouse stuff. And so they're wanting a slab table for $500 or, whatever. And it's obviously that's not going to happen. So some ways I've heard other people do it that are successful is like, tell people, like, figure out what you want to build. Tell people that or whatever, if it's not a big financial burden for you, tell them you'll build them stuff for cost of material, basically, and then put that in your portfolio to show people. Basically, you want to advertise yourself with whatever you want to build. That's my best advice I can give you.
I think that's excellent advice. It's better than my cutting boards on Etsy advice.
Well, no, that's great too. I mean, like I said, there's so many different ways you can go. If you're just going into it wanting to make money, make what people buy.
Yeah.
And another thing I can say is like, it's if you have a big space to store things, make a bunch of tables that you want to try to sell them. But I never had success doing that. I always, when you're doing custom furniture, people want custom furniture. They don't want a standard size coffee table. I made 3 slab coffee tables and I didn't sell any of them because people wanted specific size things with certain woods and different colors and this and that and this type of bit. It's custom for a reason. They can't go to any store and buy it. So I just found it to be hard to inventory things and try to sell them that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, there's so many different avenues you can go down with this. When it comes, that's why I never really got into client builds. I would much rather do content. Not that I don't like dealing with people, but man, that's just a lot. That's a whole another aspect of stuff. And I never wanted to get bogged down like you were talking about. Like, I didn't want to become the cornhole board guy or just the table guy. Like, people, when I started making tables and made tables for a couple of people, man, I started getting tons and tons of people asking me to make tables for them. And I could have made a lot of money and could have made a lot of tables, but I did not want to build tables every day on my spare time all the time. Yeah, I did not. I wanted to be a better woodworker, and I wanted to branch out and do different things. And I knew if I started that, I would never be able to do that, which is why I went to content creation instead, because I knew in content creation, I can build whatever I want.
Right.
And I can, have a vast skill set and practice and do many, many different things.
It's a much longer road to get paid, though.
Yes. You got to work for about 3 years for free.
I was gonna say, you don't get
then you get to make $200.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And not saying you can't dig your way out of that hole if that is something that you fell down into, like it's hard to say no to money, but it's much easier to start not, you know what I'm saying? Like to start off not in that hole or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So just looking ahead.
This one's a special one, guys.
Oh, God.
This is from...
I don't even want to know.
This one's from Sam, our editor. I've not seen this.
Oh, Jesus.
Not seen this. Ready? You ready for this shit? All right.
Hey guys, it's Sam, your editor. I just wanted to say thanks for having me be part of the team, and I'm looking forward to working and growing this podcast with you. Cheers. Hey guys, Sam, your editor, again. Just wanted to say, JP, can you please fix your internet? Because syncing your audio every 5 minutes is not ideal. But, alright. Hey guys, it's your editor. Brandon, could you maybe be a little more animated, a little more involved? Sometimes it looks like you just froze. So. Oh. Hey, it's me. Jesse, the talkative one. Could you maybe let someone else go once? Like stop interrupting them. I don't know whose audio to cut out and whose to leave in. It's getting obnoxious. Get it together, guys.
That's amazing.
Well, thanks, Sam.
I just want to say he nailed it.
That was glorious.
I love that every time his drink escalated. It was like the beer. The middle. I like that. I think the second one was gin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not positive.
And his irritation level went up a notch each time.
Every time.
I thought for sure at the end he was just going to be like, whatever,
time.
and just start downing whatever he was drinking. I'm
that's
editing
funny.
now. She starts drinking.
Well, Sam, first off, we love you. We appreciate it.
Yes.
I thought that I had my internet issues fixed. Probably not. Whatever we're paying you, it's not enough.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask Jesse.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's been awesome having Sam on board. It's been very helpful for the podcast, and that was great. Thanks,
Also,
Samuel.
It's very easy to tell who can actually grow facial hair in that family, by the way.
Oh, bro. Did you see his magnificent beard?
It's glorious. It's amazing.
It's got
Mine just got
luscious
pointy.
locks.
It's better than that patchwork Jesse's got going on.
Oh, God, it's bad. Dude, it's so bald on the sides. I grow out my side. Like, I could curl these. If I really
Like a
wanted to,
pirate.
I could be handlebar mustache status. Look at
Mine might be starting to turn gray, but at least it grows out.
dude, it's rough. But I am
You
only
should grow a handlebar
27.
mustache. That'd be amazing.
Me?
Just curled out.
Dude, well, that's what Sam has, that big beard plus a handlebar.
Oh, nice.
And I could do the handlebar, but
Should
I don't know, man.
do it for the gram.
For the gram.
Hey, all right. Speaking of mustaches, it's a crazy segue.
Yeah, which way is
I need
this
help
going?
on
lubricant.
You'll see in a minute. No,
He's like, so I had this paste wax and a mustache this one time. I met the guy on Craigslist. Okay,
I'm taking mustaches back to woodworking. Okay, just hold on, bear with me for a second.
All right.
So I need some help with my next YouTube video. So I'm currently working on it now, and I'm doing projects for man caves, or just like manly projects like that. Cool. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to call it yet. But I'm building a cigar ashtray, and a serving tray is my second one. I think some poker chip holders, maybe a single cigar humidor, which is a kit that comes from Rockler. But I got to learn how to turn first. And I don't know how long that's going to take.
Buy a lathe.
So I don't know. My neighbor's got a lathe. I'll go use his.
That guy's got everything.
Maybe that one. But anyway, I may find some more things to throw in there. But on the serving tray, or I don't know if it's going to be a serving tray or if it's going to be like a charcuterie board, but it's got a huge split down a board of the walnut, right? So I was going to put in some bow ties and then fill it with like some blue epoxy and finish it off and make it look cool. But I was like, well, everybody uses bow ties. And I thought about doing mustache inlays instead.
Awesome.
And then I was like, I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No,
what do y'all think?
Super cool. No,
you know, like the mustache, like, you know what I'm talking about, like the animated one that they can always draw.
Yeah, it's like a handlebar mustache.
Yeah,
curls up.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
So I'm thinking about doing that instead of bow ties as the inlay to hold in there, and then fill it with the rest of it with epoxy.
That'd be cool. I think it's.
I just wasn't sure if there was a better idea than that.
How do you cut your inlays?
Well, to print off the internet. What am I trying to say? Templates. Try to print off templates off the internet, cut those out, then make my own templates, and then trace them
all
on
by hand, though.
Yeah, and trace them on walnut. I'm gonna put them on curly maple, and then cut it out on the bandsaw, and then transfer it over to the walnut and inlay it.
So I use Slab Stitcher, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Slab Stitcher.
Yeah,
those things are awesome. I bet they have a mustache template.
They have all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, there's some really
I've
cool
never
ones.
heard of this.
Yeah. Wait, what?
It's like a template. You just put the template down and your router runs.
Yeah, it has a template, and they send you the piece to put with your router, and they send it for your trim router. So you just literally hook it up to your trim router or a big router. And it's just plexiglass, I think is what it is, or something like that.
Lexan, maybe.
Yeah, and it's just you basically, there's a big square that is that you can clamp, so it has plenty of spaces to clamp to. So you clamp that on your piece, and then there's another square that's cut out in the big square, and you can just put different templates in there, and they have different templates for different size bow ties or X's or different things, lightning bolts, and you just put that in there, and you just take your router with the flush trim bit or whatever, not flush trim bit, but it's like an upcut bit or something, and you literally just trace it, and then on the corners, all you have to do is just hammer out the corners, and that's it. I've used it. It's fantastic. It's amazing.
JP looks like someone just stole everything from him. He's like, cool. This is the exact thing I thought I came up with.
I've wasted 3 days doing one bow tie before.
I've seen like an acrylic template for a bow tie before, like on somebody's post or whatever. Never heard of this.
That's what it was.
But this goes to show you the kind of woodworker I am. I sit in my shop. I don't have an iPad in there. I don't have, I got my phone and my camera stuff. So when I go to make stuff, I'm like, all right, well, how do I make this? And I just do it with whatever I've got in there. I don't ever sit down and research or Google different products that can make my life a lot easier, because that sounds amazing.
It's really cool. And the guys that run the company are awesome. So you should definitely reach out to them, or just at least talk to them, because they're really cool guys.
Maybe they could sponsor the podcast.
That would be good.
I'd love. It'd be so awesome. Next podcast, we're like, and sponsored by Slab Stitcher.
Remember that thing we were talking about?
That's hilarious.
Remember that thing I just discovered? It's sponsored now.
No, but it's great, and
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to it. So anyway,
it sounds a lot better than printing off templates on my computer and hand drawing them.
And I don't know if they have one for the mustache, but it sounds something that'd be pretty common.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but they actually send you the piece of wood to insert it. too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole thing's great.
I was gonna try to do like a template of a beard instead of a mustache, and I was like, oh man, that might just be a little much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be a little much.
I thought about it a lot in my head, and I was like, I can't make it work.
Yeah, it'd be so hard to be very intricate to actually make it look like a beard.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Anyway. Oh, well, we're at about an hour. So thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks for the questions, Sam. Thanks, and for all the stress we put you through with this podcast. And
we promise it'll only get worse.
Yes, there's no light at the end of this tunnel.
No. Signed up for the wrong job, bud.
Yeah. So anyway, make sure you guys go rate the podcast. We appreciate it. And then follow us on or subscribe on YouTube as well. With all the new stuff we have coming with the video questions, watching it is actually pretty fun now instead of just listening to us. We also put up pictures of the stuff we're talking about, so all the builds that we're talking about we'll actually put up from our Instagram as well, so it's pretty interactive. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Go build something. I was trying to spawn and start a feud with you, but IG wasn't allowing it.
That's hilarious.
I called you some slurs, and they flagged it. Is what happened. No, I'm just kidding.